This is why when people say like religion is declining, I'm always like, well,
By who though? Yeah, who's
well,
declining? You know,
what's probably mostly declining has been extrinsic religiosity. And I mean, if you go back to the Third Lateran Council in the 1200s, when Pope Innocent was there, Pope Innocent was considered a radical reformer. He was going to make sure Christians did what they needed to do. And so he set very strict standards on the Catholic Church at the time. For one, all Christians had to attend Mass at least once a year. Otherwise, you are not a Christian. Once a year. He also made sure that priests could no longer be married after that because they were getting married. They could no longer have concubines, no longer could have sex with prostitutes. Radical reformer, let me tell you. And it just goes to show you that what historians will note is that there weren't a lot of very intrinsically religious people back then. They were mostly there because that was just part of their culture. When the Germanic tribes came in and the collapse of the Western Roman Empire started, I mean, a lot of the new warlords would just put their cousin in as the bishop of a certain local church. It was very much, well, this is just the culture. We're just going to blend in with the current culture this time, and that's the way it's going to be. There was very few people throughout the ages that were probably intrinsically religious, that were Christian. So honestly, if you want to think about it, I think there's probably more intrinsically religious people now than there was 100 years ago, and more intrinsically Christians now than there were 200 years ago.
Yeah, that's a good point, because people make a big deal about people leaving the church, but it's like, well, why are they leaving? It's because their family isn't part. There's a lot of different reasons. Sorry, I have.
No, it's
background. So, yeah.
I mean, you're right on point there. I feel like for the first time in the ages, we probably have a majority of Christians. I hope, at least, that would call themselves Christians that might be intrinsic. I would like to see some actual datum on that. I don't know if anybody's actually done that. But it would be interesting to see, because I would feel like a lot of the people leaving Christianity, and it's not always the case, but a lot of people leaving Christianity are more extrinsic type. It's like, well, the culture is now more secular. Why do I have to go to church? Well, I don't want to go to church, so therefore I'm not going to go to church. I mean, I know a lot of people I grew up with that are doing that. They were just raised Christian, but they never really were Christian. And so you could make the case that a lot of the people that have left Christianity are more extrinsic type. And so maybe Christianity really isn't declining. It's getting to what it needs to be.